Welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
Friends and family, brothers and sisters, welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
Woo! Our guest this week comes from a surf family. Got introduced to surfing at the age of 2. Come on now. Barely walking at 2. So it's no surprise that he's destined for greatness on a surfboard. With putting more time at lowers than just about anybody. This young buck has a couple of QS wins under his belt, but recently just came off a huge win and biggest of his career so far, QS3000 Event in Japan. We'll talk about that.
You guys have something in common.
We're big fans and we're pumped to see him and continue what he's doing great things in surf. I can't wait. And how deep this talent runs through San Clemente. Another San Clemente. Dude, what's going on?
Yeah.
They're producing.
Yeah.
We welcome sorry. K-chan Kobayashi.
Woo!
Yeah, K. Dude.
Okay, stoked to be here.
Another San Clemente just prodigy over here.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, you grew up there. You watched it all happen. Like it's your era is pretty much the era that
The new.
Yeah. Do they call it San Clemente Cyclone?
I don't know. We definitely got some names for sure. Yeah, the talent level is insane. I don't think I've ever really seen anything besides it. Australia's got some big groups, same in Japan. But yeah, San Clemente is like another level. Like especially with the board riders too. It's like crazy. Like so talented and yeah, seeing like Griffin, Kolohe qualified and Cole Halshman and Crosby now. It's like really inspiring and yeah, hopefully be there one day with them.
Yeah, you're on the cusp.
Yeah.
You're on the cusp. So before we jump into the history of K-chan, you just came off a big win, one of your biggest wins. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was crazy. I actually I was on the Outer Banks in Virginia competing in a couple 1000s before, and yeah, I hung out with Tyler Gunter and Dylan Horde for the OBX comp, and yeah, I got I got a third, so made the finals for that. So got a lot of confidence from that, and then flew straight over to Japan, and yeah, barely made it in time. It was kind of last minute, entered late, and yeah, a lot of my sponsors come over from Japan, and yeah, it's been a huge support from them, and to be able to compete over there, that was pretty inspiring for me to be able to win, and let alone like be able to surf without any injuries was really cool too. So
Yeah. Are you prone to injuries?
well, I had a super bad shoulder injury last year. I had a grade 3 AC joint separation and then a full tear on my right shoulder, and yeah,
Those are hard to come back from, huh?
yeah, that was like injury was pretty mentally draining too as well. Like just
A wipeout or just overworking or
No,
just
yeah,
freak
I
accident?
was in Nicaragua. I just pulled into like a 2-foot barrel backside and like went straight into the sand, like shoulder first.
Kind of dislocated almost. Like
Yeah, it was like pretty borderline.
Ouch.
Could have got surgery, and yeah, I didn't opt for surgery. I ended up getting like laser guided stem cells up in Garden Grove.
Laser guided stem cells.
Yeah, and then yeah, it's by Dr. Yu.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
but yeah, he
Sounds like a band.
yeah. He helped
I'm
me
gonna
out.
see
so-
laser guided stem cell.
No, it was crazy. Like it was like,
But it
finally,
helped?
yeah, a big thing. Like right now, I think a lot of like football players are starting to do it, and I did that, and I did hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and kind of did a little bit of everything. So it's like,
Yeah.
When you're hurt, you'll do anything.
yeah.
And if you want to like stay away from surgery, so is it surgery?
No, it's just like kind of like you inject. So like laser guided stem cells, they like it's from like the baby's umbilical cord, and then they like re-inject it into like where you have all the pain.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did that and like PRP as well, and then ozone. So kind of did a little bit of everything. So I think like 1 or 2% each helped me like get to where I'm at today. And
Yeah.
yeah,
But so it's like an alternative to surgery. Like
Yeah.
when they cut you up and kind of mend
Well, he's
the
young.
stem cells.
Yeah.
The stem cells heal the
Tears.
wound, the
Yeah.
tears. That's incredible.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Like there's some injuries where you tear it off the bone or whatever. And HB Air Show, woo!
Yeah.
Surf City.
Pick another great day to do another podcast.
Hey, is your partner coming by?
No, not today. That was
Oh,
Thursday, bro.
But yeah, I mean, there's, sometimes you can't avoid surgery, but
Yeah.
if that's an alternative, you want to avoid going
Amazing.
under the knife at all costs.
So what was the other thing? The hyperbolic.
Oh, hyperbaric chamber. I go to it's in Newport.
Okay.
O2 Health Lab. They have a hyperbaric chamber and they have like red light therapy. So I did all of that for like a month or two straight. And yeah, hyperbaric's crazy. Like John does it. It's like pretty much like cuts your recovery time in half. Like every time
Wow.
I've been injured, I've been doing that. And like with my shoulder injury, I was told I couldn't even surf or paddle for like a year. And I was back in the water like paddling in like 2 months. And
Jeez.
yeah, I was like able to stand up in like probably 2.5. Like I wasn't ripping or anything, but I was able to like stand up and like have no pain. Kind of like a little shaky and like kind of had, kind of a little bit scary, but
Yeah.
at the same time it was like didn't push it and like just was able to stand up and paddle and like I'd paddle in the pool and stuff and it was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like to like
Cut 10 months out of your.
yeah, it was crazy. It was
That's
wild.
huge.
I didn't think I was, and then I did a couple events and probably shouldn't have done it because I wasn't really like mentally there, but definitely it was a long road to be back to where I am now.
So
Yeah.
explain what that is. The
Ozone?
chamber.
Yeah, so the chamber's wild. So it's like, it looks like it's like a full like capsule and you go in, it's fully locked and then like you're breathing like oxygen. So you're getting like more like white blood cells and like, yeah, it's pretty wild. Like,
Yeah.
to be able to like go in a chamber and like breathe oxygen and like it's kind of one of those things like if you have to do it for a while, you can't just do it like one time and think it's gonna work. It's kind of like working out and surfing. The longer you do it, like the better you're gonna get, right? So it's like
Does it bring you up to like an altitude and then back down, or is it just like pure
I
oxygen?
think you're just breathing pure oxygen for that one, and you might be going in a higher level. I would
Yeah.
say.
But all this
The
alternative,
chamber kind of decompresses or
Yeah.
does something with the air.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
A little bit. I think there's a.
And who turned you on to these? Alternative
So I got sponsored by O2 Health Lab a few years ago, and then I worked with them with I hurt both of my toes, my big toes. So that I did that with them, and they cut my time down in half. So I knew like it was something that I've always wanted to do and like have a part of my life. And a lot of the research behind it now is like crazy and like, yeah, I know that John has one in his house.
Of course it does.
And yeah.
Why not?
Hey, 3-time world champion.
Yeah, I got that.
I mean, I would add that. If I would, when I buy a house one day, I'm gonna have an ice bath, sauna,
Yeah.
and a hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah.
Those are the three things I feel like. And it's like been proven like you can live longer too by doing the hyperbaric and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's
all
pretty
of,
wild.
all of this like treatments aren't covered by insurance, are they?
No, these ones I got sponsored by, so I was like lucky enough to go.
Because that's
do it for
expensive.
free,
Like a lot of these treatments, like
Yeah.
even PRP or stem cell, like that's crazy expensive.
Yeah.
And then this hyperbolic stuff.
Insurance wants you to pay for stuff that makes the money.
Yeah. Well, that's good. At least you got sponsorships and helped out,
Yeah.
because that's kind of a make or break. Like, man, I wish I had the means and the funds and the backing to go do this, which you hear from all like the, professional athletes and pro athletes that make a ton of money, or they're with an organization team that has all that every day.
It's awesome to hear that you got lucky and you're smart enough to like find those other ways of healing quicker, because it's so much healthier too. Like it seems like it's anytime you stay away from surgery, it heals up better, and later in life it isn't gonna affect you. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
for sure. I mean, like, I don't really want like plates or like I don't want plates or anything in my body.
Yeah.
Foreign objects. So not
Like some sketchy stuff in my body.
Yeah.
So,
None of us do.
Yeah, I try to keep it as simple as possible, and surgery would probably be the last thing I'd want to do, and
Yeah.
it's probably the last resort for me.
Tell us about.
Well, I want to talk about this win in Japan.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. The first contest, though, where you got third. How are the waves in OB?
Yeah, so that was a pretty fun event. Waves were pretty grindy. Like
Small.
there's one day that was pretty fun. Like probably a fun day like in Newport and San Clemente. But the last 2 days we got really grindy and kind of really small. And I had a really good board and just kind of everything came together and just felt like I was using priority and kind of catching really good waves. And I feel like that's definitely something I've been lacking. Is just competitive surfing is like you don't have to really surf a lot of waves. It's more strategy and where you like kind of positioning yourself. It's like a chess match, you could say, and like where are you gonna put your pieces on the table and like So I started working with Chad Wells and kind of just figuring out like what works and like I don't know. I feel like my surfing belongs on the world tour. Just haven't been able to put the pieces together and. Definitely last couple of years I've lacked confidence for sure, and definitely this year I feel really good. And regardless of the results, I feel like definitely I'm at that headspace where I feel like I'm able to put those pieces together. And OBX was like a really good start for me and got third. And I had a really good board, and I feel like when you got good boards and got a good headspace, it all comes together. And,
So you say the waves were grinding, meaning small and challenging. Were you on like epoxy or PU?
Yeah, I rode a Lightspeed by Lost Surfboards. It was like a 5.5. Yeah, so he makes really good surfboards, of course. Number one again this year on the World Tour.
So epoxy, groveler setup.
Yeah.
Are you sticking to thruster or you go alternative?
So that one was wild too, because I actually was cleaning out like my parents' garage and I was like packing for my trip and found like I've been riding H4 FCS largest for like I don't know, let's say 5 years now, and I was cleaning out the garage, like finding like things I needed, and I found a pair of mediums, and I haven't ridden medium fins of H4 from FCS, and I haven't ridden mediums in years. So like I found these and I was like, I want to try them out, and tried them out before I left, and in the small surf it worked way better than large fins, and I rode those in OBX, and then I rode them again in Japan and was able to win. And I think that was like a huge difference because I haven't switched from larges to mediums, so I think that could have been like a huge thing because like when the waves are like 2 foot, you don't really need a large fin.
You think it creates in your mind and on paper, you think it creates more drive because you got more fin, you're pushing, but it's like not as quick release and clicky, you need to be so light and spontaneous and like change direction.
When you look at the fins and it's medium or large or small, it's based on your weight.
I mean, they got to put a formula to it, but it's like everybody surfs
because I've
different and power. There might be big dudes, but
they like small fins. It's all a matter of preference, but the way that they explain it is by weight, right?
It's the same thing when you see the volume charts and you're like, they got to have some sort of
100%.
stat.
Tell us what the conditions were like in Japan.
Japan was pretty small, like probably 2-3 foot. One of the days was maybe 4 foot, just super onshore and small. But
what spot?
It was in Shizuoka. It was called Maizaki. I went because that's where my dad grew up surfing and kind of surfing around that whole town. And so I've had really good events over there in Shizuoka. I've actually never lost, so that was in the back of my head too, like just booking the ticket and like entering the comp. I was like,
confidence booster.
I was like, I never lost, so I was like, it might be good to try to keep the streak going. And it was a 3000, and I signed with Locomotion Japan a few years ago and was never able to go and see them, so it kind of worked out to go like grind out the event and then go see them and go see Cyber Wetsuits as well. And it worked out, and it was crazy. I've actually never won an event by like winning all my heats, and that was definitely
from start to finish.
I never lost a heat, so that was pretty good.
What are you seated? Like how many rounds are you talking? Like
I started in the round of 88. I didn't have a seed.
Because you entered super late, or
that and I'm on North America, so I don't have a seed into that. So yeah, I think it was like maybe 5 heats, 6 heats.
That's huge.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you won how much?
I think I want to say probably US, maybe 6 or 7. But yeah, I'm gonna just keep it in Japan.
What
And
do you
just,
mean in US? They don't pay you $100 bills or cashier's checks?
nah.
You got paid in yen?
Yeah, I'm gonna just leave the money in Japan and just, you know, just.
Not get taxed on it.
Yeah, not get taxed.
We'll cut that out.
Use it for
Hey, we didn't bring it in.
trips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be going to Japan again next week, so I'm looking forward to that. And food's insane, and forgot how expensive food is over here. And
Yeah.
Yeah. The dollar is really strong
Strong.
for Japan right
yeah,
now, which is
for sure.
rare, you know?
Yeah.
Always hasn't been like that. It's usually you go over there and it's like, wow,
Yeah.
it's really expensive over here.
That's
but-
why a lot of Japanese used to buy tons of stuff here.
And bring,
Yeah.
bring
Yeah.
it back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Your dad would get mad at me for bringing that up, but we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the beginning. 2 years old.
2 years old. Yeah, that's wild. That's probably like right around when I started surfing. I think my parents got me in the water when I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 months old, like on a bodyboard, and then I think I tried to start surfing around like 2, I want to say.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been crazy. Like to think back, I'm 25 now, turning 26 in November, so a couple months from now, and yeah, it's pretty wild to think 2 years old. I would probably say, looking back, if I could tell myself, just keep pushing and yeah, never give up. I mean, it's been a wild ride for sure. Like a lot of injuries, you know, like. I feel like I've changed as a person too. Like, I don't know, growing up, I definitely was probably, yeah, I'd probably say I was probably a Grom,
Yeah.
big Grom for sure. Yeah, I feel like I've learned, ever since like COVID, I feel like I've learned a lot, like about like respecting other people and like kind of like learning like, hey, like you gotta give respect to get it back, and sometimes it's not always gonna go your way, you know, and like,
Like, no, it's hard to, you know, you gotta
Yeah.
earn respect. It's not given, but you know, you
Yeah.
want to be,
yeah,
you want to be open to, you know,
Totally.
to everybody. You know,
Yeah.
like I give you the benefit of the doubt.
for
So
sure.
let's go back and
Like first,
two.
I mean, you
years
don't
old.
remember when you're 2. You know,
Yeah.
earliest
We
memory.
gotta talk
4 or
about
5.
your dad a little bit, because
Oh,
if
for
people
sure.
know your dad, the people that do know your dad know how and why you started so early. 'Cause
Father.
he's one of the biggest groms
Oh
on
yeah,
the face of the planet.
yeah. I gotta give a big shout out to my mom too, cause she was
She held it down.
yeah she.
What's your mom's name?
Emika.
Okay.
Yeah, so she pushed me in on a bodyboard in the beginning, and then my dad started helping me out. And yeah, my dad's a diehard surfer. You know, he's definitely either at lowers, churches, or uppers. He won't ever surf anywhere else unless he's on a surf trip. If you see him at a beach break, you should probably go buy a lottery ticket. Yeah, it's funny because ever since my injury last year, this year I actually started trying to surf every day this year and catch 1 wave per day, and I haven't missed a day yet.
Good for you.
And yeah, it's been crazy. Like my dad, I think 2 years ago, he missed 3 days out of the year. So I'm trying to beat him. I don't want to lose to him. So I'm gonna try to
That's
surf
awesome.
every day, catch 1 wave, and yeah, we're into October now and haven't missed a day yet. So
Yeah.
it's pretty hard traveling, you know. Like if I'm home for a year and no injuries, it's pretty easy to do. But when you travel with flight delays, like having to time it well, like from the Outer Banks to Japan, I had to surf at midnight. Like
In
right,
Japan?
no, in Outer Banks, right when it turned midnight, I went to go surf. I caught 2 waves, like pretty much just stood up, and then I went to the airport and checked in and flew to Japan.
Are you documenting this? Are you gonna put this out as like? Do you have
I
video?
don't have video of every day, but
Ah.
I know it's pretty hard.
You'll have to reset in 2025 and do it all over.
Yeah.
Wait, nobody else listened to that.
But yeah, I probably could have been like in the world record or something if I did it, like filmed
Because
it. But
yeah.
I mean, it's sidetrack. You saw Ben Gravy do all 7 oceans in 7 days,
Yeah.
and like he was doing
7
something
seasons,
similar,
7
or
days.
yeah, whatever. Sorry, and it was like, you know, I gotta go like catch a wave and get on a flight, or he wouldn't make the time the next, whatever. It was pretty wild. I'm like,
yeah, it's gnarly. Like,
but 365, it's kind of a hard feat. healthy travel.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
like you got to be on it.
Yeah, be on.
Yeah, a lot of people like one wave only one wave, and I'm like, it's harder than you think. Like I'm not home like, and with like traveling Japan or like anywhere in the world, I have to time it like a certain like I have to surf at right when it turns midnight, like because we were leaving at like 3 a.m. that day, so I probably could have surfed at like 2:30, but still would have had to surf like before my flight. And when I got to Japan, I got there at like 5:30, and then it got dark at like 6, so I had to paddle out at like dark, catch one wave, and then that was my day, and then move on.
Sacrifice.
Dude, how crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Okay, back to your dad real quick.
Yeah, no worries.
He is, and like you said, he missed 3 days out of the year 1 year, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
And if you ever surf lowers, you would know who the hell this guy is.
Oh, for sure.
He surfs well.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I think, you know, Davo-san
Yeah.
is one of his best
Oh
friends,
yeah, he
right?
surfs at like 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I thought I woke up early and to work out, but he's out there in the dark surfing. He's gnarly.
Is Davo still doing it?
Maybe like 4 o'clock now.
Yeah.
He might call me out, but probably maybe 3:30, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and your dad are partners in crime.
Yeah, no, they're both so gnarly. Like, kids growing up nowadays could definitely take notes, like how to just like love surfing because of surfing, you know, not like worrying about like work or like anything like that. And yeah, I think growing up for sure, like my dad's been a huge role model for me, and to be able to like love surfing, and you know, like surfing as an athlete, there's so many ups and downs, and yeah, I feel like my injury was the best thing that could ever happen to me, and definitely took the positive out of it, and was like, hey, like you get to surf for a living, you know, and like your sponsors stuff. Yeah, and like it's crazy too, because as an athlete you always are like thinking about just the results, but at the end of the day that's not what it's about. And I had to like reset and kind of like reset everything and be like, hey, like why did you start surfing, you know, and like started because I love it. And I feel like my injury really made me love surfing, and now I like surf every day and I'm like stoked, you know. And there's been days that are bad too, and even those days are super cool.
Well, I mean, most people think like, oh, pro surfer, you just get to like do whatever. It's a job, and that's what I think you're kind of referring to a little bit. Like, you're supposed to be doing this for the love, but you get caught up in the results and the how this and other people and sponsorships and whatever over the course of years, and it kind of wears on you, and it's like, what you kind of miss. This is a blessing. This is surf. This is what I get to do.
And
so it's hard.
An injury or something misfortunate makes you realize that again.
And like it's a lot of work. It's definitely not, you know, everyone's like, oh, you gotta just surf, and I'm like, dude, I gotta train, I gotta edit YouTube videos, like come up with content for my sponsors. Like I'm not paying anyone to do it for me, you know, like I pay filmers and stuff, but like I still gotta cut up the edits, like, you know, like figure out the content, like make it look good, and you know, I'm like, you gotta be
your own travel agent. You gotta like, you know, schedule everything, make sure you're like,
it's not as lucrative as it used to be too.
No, and it's like
you've done a good job of like finding good outside of the surf industry sponsors too.
Yeah, it's definitely one way to look at it is like, you know, you gotta sell yourself a little bit, you know, like it's better than working a 9 to 5, and you gotta find the right companies that you wanna, you know, promote and be stoked to promote, you know. And so I've been fortunate to, you know, find a couple. I started working with Decked. They're like a drawer system from like Tacoma.
Dude, that's so
I saw one of your clips pulling it out, and I was like, what? Look at all those compartments and how organized. And
we would have to put a floor in our Sprinter and then put that underneath it.
Yeah, they could probably do it in the very back, you know, like where it's like the length of the bed, the second row back.
That's rad.
So going back to your mom pushing you on a boogie board, where was that, at Lowers?
No, that was at Doho.
Okay.
In Dana Point, so that's kind of.
Did your mom surf?
Yeah, so my mom surfed for probably like 20 years actually. So funny, like pretty like romantic story, but so my dad used to work for Jack Ocean Sports. It's a surf shop in Japan. I actually just signed with them this month.
Nice. Congrats.
Thank you. So my dad,
I've heard of Jack Ocean Sports.
yeah, so they're huge. They're in Shizuoka. So my dad worked for Jack Ocean Sports, and they wanted someone to come over here because they worked with Stussy forever, and he's like, oh, I'll go to California because he wanted to surf.
Yeah.
And then so he
Lowers? What?
Yeah, so then he came over here, and then he'd be able to surf all day because Japan didn't, when it's afternoon, it'd be morning there.
Yeah.
So like he'd be able to surf all day and then work at night.
Yeah, talk about mixing.
Business with pleasure
Yeah.
and having a killer schedule.
Yeah.
Huge.
Him and Davo, dude, they had it figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then he moved over here, and then my mom moved from Japan to here, but they didn't know each other. And I think they were surfing the pier, I want to say.
HB?
No, San Clemente.
Okay.
And then my dad, like, hit on my mom, and then...
In the water.
Yeah, and then, like, took her out on a date, and then, yeah, long story short, my brother came, and then I think shortly after, and it was yeah, I was like, well, you guys met in the ocean, that's pretty crazy, like, you know, moving from Japan to here, not knowing each other, and then, yeah, meeting in the water, and then...
And she surfed.
Yeah, she surfed then. She's got some, like, back problems now, but... I guess that happens when you get old.
Did she come here for surfing or for
yeah,
work
just
or
to surf
school?
and like
a surf trip.
Yeah, just like surf, hang out, and like kind of just do the California, like, you know, like just enjoy it. And yeah, they met, and then had my brother, and then me like a couple years later.
And your brother's Shaw, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
How much older is he?
He's 6 years older than me.
Okay.
Yeah,
So he was surfing.
Yeah, he
early
surfed
too.
Yeah, he surfed his whole entire life, and he did the QS and everything, and just got really expensive, so stopped doing it, and then I'm just grinding it out until the dreams become a reality.
So what was your first surfboard?
I think my first surfboard, I want to say my dad got me probably just a soft top, but I know that he got me a Now Merrick too, and then I think around like 8 or 10 got sponsored by Lost, and then kind of been riding that ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, they've been working good, and worked with Matt Biolis and Gian. I think 3 years ago on the Challenger, they both were like, oh, your boards are way too long, so then brought them down like 1.5 inches, and ever since then I feel like my boards, my surfing have felt a lot better. And yeah, it's crazy. I tried Caroline Marks's board, and they were like a little bit too thin, but the length was like about the same as what I would order. And yeah, so I went from a 5.5 to a 5.3. And I have
As your reggie.
Yeah, and I have a couple 5.4s, and I recently just got a 5.2 and a 5.3, so I'm pretty excited to try that. The last couple of days at Lowers, I've been riding a 5.0, like smallest board I've ever ridden, I think, in the last couple of years. So, that's really been fun, and kind of going
Boards
shorter.
have changed so much.
Yeah.
Like high performance boards.
Yeah.
It just fits in the pocket a lot better, and like I definitely love riding bigger boards. Like I'll ride like 5.9s, 5.10s at like cylinders and stuff. I just definitely like the paddling power, but if I'm like trying to really rip and like put it on rail, I definitely like a little bit smaller.
Yeah. So on that Merrick, that was your first like...
Yeah, I think that was my first custom board, I want to say.
Yeah.
Then I had a couple Roberts too.
Nice.
Robert surfboards, so yeah.
We've talked about how Roberts, for being in Ventura, like he's always got young Groms.
Yeah.
Like some of the best Groms somehow end up on Robert's board.
Yeah, I know
And
Nolan.
what is that? Why is that?
Yeah, I don't know. But he shapes really good boards. And
I think it's really hard to find. I mean, now everybody
Grom
makes
shaper?
good Grom shape boards, but if you're at NSSAs or WSAs and you're seeing like the best, like somebody rip, you're looking at their board.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you always take the athlete and be like, okay, like that guy's just killer style, he rips, but it's like, what's the second thing you look at? What is he riding? What board is he riding? And if you see Roberts pop up, like, and he's accessible and he's always around and he's like you know, like it's a business for him, but you're going to want to get
strange though like a lot of
That's his
drums
niche.
over the years.
That he's had that
And
niche
they're
for
not
deep
even
drums.
they're not from Ventura. They're either from down here, and even like East Coast guys you'll see on Robertsports.
Yeah.
That Cruz did
Oh yeah.
I forgot his
yeah,
name.
he's super.
Did a
nice.
cola or something like that.
Yeah, I did like a crazy backflip or something.
Yes,
Cool,
yeah. Like you're like, whoa, how did that guy get that board?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but when did you start doing contests? Because your dad, like, I know we're gonna bring up your dad. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but we're gonna bring up your dad quite a
Yeah,
bit.
y'all are good.
Yeah, we know.
Because he throws that contest every year, right?
Yeah, so
Japanese
it's,
surfers?
contest,
yeah, it's usually in the middle of October, so it's the 13th.
Oh, it's coming up.
Yeah, so it's next weekend, be the
Damn.
13th. So, yeah, that event's wild. Like, I think there's like 200 people on the beach usually and 150 competitors.
What?
And
Yeah.
churches, huh?
Yeah, it starts at 7 and we're kind of always there until like dark, like 6:30. and-
Powering it.
Yeah, it's a long
used
day.
I used to do it, not surfing it, but come down because I worked at HSS.
Yeah,
And Big Bird,
yeah,
Brett Coates, he was a rep for Stussy and worked with
Yeah,
your
yeah.
dad. So we used to go there and hang.
yeah.
Beach day.
We did a lot of business with Japan back then.
Yeah, it's been going. I think this year I want to say is a 36th year.
That's
So-
incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
What's it called?
Just Japanese surfing contest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super simple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super simple. Hopefully, yeah.
The surf.
When I'm
Simple.
hopefully in like 10, 15 years down the line, I want to take over it and make it like a pro-am on one day, and then because we have the permit for both days, but we only use one day.
Ooh.
So I'm thinking like a pro-am on one day, or like a kids comp on the day before, and then the Japanese contest on Sunday would be
Wow.
Or
Look at
maybe
you.
make it
Yeah.
bigger. Yeah, I don't know.
Taking the legacy and continuing on.
Yeah, definitely. It's rad to give back to the community, and that's where
That
it
is
starts.
It's
so
become
much
a
fun.
big deal.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Like how many people come out. I'm always like tripping like how many people actually show up.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they stay till like dark too, and it's like I think if we did a 2-day event, a lot of people wouldn't come if they didn't make the finals, but they usually just post up all day and stay all day. So
Yeah.
I think
Japanese people, the surf culture is so much more community than
Yeah.
it is here, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's wild to think like once you like have a Japanese fan, they're gonna stick by you till the end. And
Yeah.
I think I've
Jay-
learned. Yeah.
Jay's been there a bunch, and I used to go there quite a bit.
Yeah.
and
It was so epic. I
It's
loved
epic.
going there.
Yeah.
The culture, the people. I mean, I've gotten incredible waves there. Not all the time, but a few times that was
Yeah.
like, wow, this
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
I went
I've surfed Najima Island.
Oh yeah, I've never
Yeah.
been there. The water's super blue there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Super
it's-
blue.
it almost-
Yeah, that's where I went upon us, sir. Since you brought it up, Lyndon, thanks for the cue.
The
It's a good
only.
place.
Well, you've won 2 contests.
Yeah, I've won a lot, but there's the big ones like that.
It's only the big ones you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when did you start surfing contests?
I think I want to say maybe 7 or 8.
Nice.
Yeah, did WSAs and then NSSAs. I won mini groms when I was 10. That was pretty fun looking back. Beat
And your dad was coaching
Yeah.
you.
Yes, that was the last year NSSA I ever ran at lowers, and that was when Kalohe won men's, I think. And final was pretty gnarly. It was like me, Kalana uphill from Hawaii, Jake Marshall, Griffin. I think I want to say Luke Marks, Caroline's brother, and one more person. It was pretty gnarly. Like it was a gnarly final. Like looking back, and yes, I think that was the last time I've had a heat with Griffin and Jake. So I haven't had a heat in a long time with them. So hopefully either on the Challenger or on the tour. Hopefully
Coming up soon.
Yeah,
Who won the final?
I ended up winning, so it's pretty cool. Like that was not like lowers, and then after that they would have it at Huntington, and I would lose like 3rd round every time. Like never do good. So, but now I
Yeah,
surf a
home
lot.
court advantage at lowers.
Yeah, now I surf a lot of beach breaks, so I feel like I've been able to adapt to that, and that's pretty much the entire QS and Challenger series. So
Yeah.
I feel like when it comes to good waves, I'm able to like perform, but like definitely when it gets a little tricky, it's definitely been where I haven't done so good. So kind of just acknowledging like where you're not the best at and putting those pieces together.
Yeah. Now, from NSSAs, you did WSAs, NSSAs. When did you kind of realize like, I want to be pro surfer?
Probably
Pretty early?
around like 10 when I won minigrams is kind of when I wanted to like really do it. I was like, oh, I want to like qualify and like make the world tour. And
At 10.
at that time, I didn't know like we'd ever have an Olympics, but yeah, definitely just a world tour at that point in time. And yeah, it's been crazy to think that's been over a decade, you know. So it's been a long journey, and yeah, definitely pretty stoked with where I'm at physically, mentally, and feel like I've grown up a lot since I was 10. Like, you definitely learn more about respect now than I ever did when I was 10.
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty rare that I'll burn someone now. I mean, definitely, you know, we all burn each other, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot less than before, and kind of just learning like to line up and respecting other people, and kind of just learning, you know, like we all at the end of the day are going through something, and you never know what someone's going through, and never really judging someone for what it looks like from the outside, and because you never know what someone's going through. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely learned a lot since I was
Look at this guy maturing over here at a
No
young body.
kidding,
This
dude.
guy, 'cause
He sounds like he feels guilty.
Yeah, I've burned
Maybe a
so
little
many
bit, for
people.
sure.
I better like start pay
Yeah,
my
I
dues.
mean, I've definitely burned a lot of people over the years. I mean,
So is Lar. He still does it.
yeah, I mean,
He doesn't like to surf with crowds. I'm like, I don't care about crowds. I don't see him anyways. Like,
well, I mean, my theory is like at lowers, like once I start paddling, I'm probably gonna go. You know, it's like I'm not gonna look behind me, and that's probably never gonna change. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
But like, you know, like not getting mad and like losing it. You know, like a few years ago, I'd probably like scream at someone if like they burned me. And now I'm just like, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, like it's all good. And that takes a lot too, because like getting burned sucks, but like it happens.
Yeah.
You know.
So you got sponsored by Lost.
Yeah.
And then who was your first like wetsuit or clothing or?
I think I want to say I rode for O'Neill was the first.
Garth.
Yeah.
He's always on the hunt for the young talent. Like
Yeah.
he
got
he
vision.
always puts the gnarliest
Groms.
Grom team together.
Yeah. Yeah. So I signed with them when I was like probably I want to say like 11 or 12 maybe.
Jeez.
And yeah, I rode for them for probably close to a decade, if not a decade.
So, how old is Kanoa?
I think Kanoa's either the same age or a few months older,
Okay.
maybe a year older.
Yeah. Because you guys were on O'Neill almost at the same time.
Yeah, I want to say around the same time probably. Yeah. Yeah.
What a trip.
Yeah. I mean, there's a laundry list of Groms that all were on O'Neill.
Yeah.
I mean, the best of the best. Like
Yeah,
the
For
best
sure.
amateur team, outside of having that single like marquee like kid, like they had depth. Like they had the best East Coast, West Coast, Hawaii. Like they just dominated.
Yeah.
You know.
We who do we talk? We talked to a lot of people to bring up Garth and how he's really good at cultivating talent.
Yeah.
But I just when you were saying you got on O'Neill, I had I pictured Kanoa in an O'Neill suit,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh shit! Like that must have been like around the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
So and you had a long run with O'Neill.
Yeah, it was like a good, I want to say 10 years. It was a good run for sure. Like,
Yeah.
and then, we just ended up parting ways, but, it was a super good run. And and then a few years later, I signed with Locomotion, and that's where I'm at right now with them. And I got sponsored by Locomotion Japan. And so that's why I went over there for that contest. And it's been sick to make super cool clothes. And
How's the Locomotion store here in Huntington, right?
Yeah.
You go there quite a bit, huh?
Yeah, I go there.
That's awesome.
After I surf and stuff, so it's pretty cool to have a store here. And
I mean, Locomotion and TNC, like even for like a Huntington, California kid, like to get your hands on like those shirts were like gold when we were like kids. Like they
The
were.
hoodie you're wearing right now is pretty legit.
Yeah.
it's like it's a new style. It's got a lot of patches on it. It's pretty cool to like locomotion's been around since like I want to say 1976. I think I don't know if that's the exact date. But yeah, they've been around for forever and way longer than I've been alive. So it's pretty cool to be supported by a brand like that, and yeah, be able to kind of support my dreams and chase the qualifying series and make the Olympics and challenge or the CT, and yeah, step by step.
So growing up in San Clemente and lowers is your spot. Wait, did you do T Street a lot or?
Yeah, so I do T Street a lot, but I'd surf lowers and uppers quite a bit. Uppers was definitely what I surfed when I was like 8 or 10. And then I started going to lowers and surfing that. And I honestly think uppers is better when there's the right swell, but
Don't tell anybody. Is that your dad going, okay, you stay at uppers first, and when you get better, you're gonna come up to lowers?
Well, yeah, just uppers is like has like a channel on the inside, and there's like a little bay, so it's like a lot easier to surf, like for kids especially. And lowers is kind of like one peak. It's probably arguably a better wave, left and right, but like for practicing and you're a little kid, probably the inside is a lot better to surf. So yeah, I surf there, and yeah, I've been like walking that sand and eating that sand ever since I was a little kid, and it's crazy to like see all the locals like from when I was like 8 to now, because like I've changed so much since then, and it's like crazy to see them and like talk with them and like hear all the stories as I was growing up, and like yeah, it's pretty cool to see all the people still like surfing and like that. They have like the hut at uppers, and it's pretty funny, like if you don't like know the locals, they'll just like throw your backpack, and it's pretty cool. And I think it's pretty rad. Like
they got the little driftwood like set up.
It's pretty rad to see like like them like kind of hold down the fort, and like they've been there for decades, just surfing that wave, and that's like their little like home, so it's pretty cool to like see that. And
it's trippy how you have to kind of earn your way. Earn your spot in each lineup.
Yeah, I feel like at every spot it's different, and I feel like it's hard to like having stickers on your board too, because then they look at you differently, and it's like definitely hard. But I feel like if you wait long enough, you'll get a good wave. And it's pretty hard to surf by yourself in California, but there's still some nooks and crannies for sure. But it's pretty cool.
So, what was your first surf trip?
My first surf trip?
I'm sure, like parents they're frothing to go on a surf trip.
I want to say Costa Rica, because I think that's where I learned how to duck dive.
You learned to duck dive?
Yeah, in Costa Rica. I'm pretty sure that's where.
Duck diving is huge memory.
Yeah.
Even for myself. Taking off on an overhead wave, even though it probably wasn't overhead, but it felt like it was.
Yeah.
And getting barreled, like those are burned in my head,
Yeah.
But duck diving's like, that's a huge milestone, and people like it gets overlooked, but it's so important.
Yeah. It makes surfing way easier.
Way easier.
And the fear factor lessens with good duck diving skills.
Oh, for sure. I had a clip I posted from LA like last
I saw
winter,
that.
And
where you ducked up like.
Well, I like bailed like it was like I don't know.
The South Bay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like to claim how I kind of shot it under. It was probably I don't know, like I claimed 10 foot, but it was probably maybe 15, maybe even more.
Was it Matt Pagan there too?
No, that day he wasn't out there,
Okay.
but he's out there a lot. I've surfed with him a bunch this last couple 2 years, and I bailed on that one, and I got so many comments like, "Oh, you should have duck dove it," and I was like, I mean, I would have loved to have duck dove it if I could, but the thing was so scary looking.
You know when you're in that spot, like
yay or nay,
It was like a split second where I was like, I might have made it, but like it was like I've never been scared in California surfing, and I was looking up at the wave, and I'm like, oh my god, I might die. Like I've never like actually like where I was like scared like in California surfing, and I was like bailed on the first one, came up, and then the second one came like super fast, and then my leash snapped, and then I got another one. So I got like 3 waves on the head. And
Is that Hammerland?
No, that was just in the South Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that was scary. That was like, I came in and I was like, I like called my girlfriend and I was like, well, that was really scary. Like I was just like pretty much drowned. Like that was like wild. And
Nobody out, like nobody did, like, you know,
Yeah.
like,
yeah,
to go through it like the same, you know, when you're at other people, confidence again, and like, hey, I'm not the only one. Like you're out there Han Solo.
Yeah.
Which was a shocker too. I did a run around, and so I was riding a 6.5, and I was like watching it from like the lot, and I was like, whoa, it's pumping. It's like 15 foot, like full like kegs, you know, and like I was like, wow, I'm gonna get like the wave of my life maybe.
Yeah.
And then it took me 45 minutes to get all the way to the outside. Just duck dive. Finally get to the outside. Thought it was the outside, but it wasn't the outside.
Just a little.
Probably sat on my surfboard maybe for like a minute, maybe less. And then I just see this wave coming like this, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is like...
Way bigger than you thought.
Yeah, and I was like, I honestly thought I was going to die. Like I
So
didn't go under with a lot of, like I didn't breathe like that well, and I kind of like panicked a little bit, but kind of like was able to like come up pretty fast and get another breath before coming down. But like it was gnarly. Like that was the first time in my life where I was scared in California surfing, and probably surfed some pretty big days where I like could have been scared, but that was like where I was like, whoa, like that was really scary.
Yeah, and I've seen videos of you surfing waves of consequence. So for you to say, because I watched that video
Yeah.
where you got pounded, and I'm like, so when you that particular day, did you go there to catch waves and get videoed, or did you just?
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone knows, but Nate, I filmed with him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Nate and Nate Baker. I filmed with him quite a bit, and yeah, he's a legend. But yeah, so we woke up pretty early that day and like got there, and we were both like, wow, it's pretty big. And I have a lot of my boards at my girlfriend's apartment. She lives up in LA, and I grabbed the 6.5 thinking it was like gonna be perfect, and I show up and thing felt like I was going backwards, like paddling, and wish I had a 7.0, but
7.0.
yeah, like it was proper.
Just for
like,
paddling and
yeah,
like
like-
getting.
Yeah.
like I probably could have made it if I had a 7.0. I probably could have made it under the lip, like, but it was like that split second where I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
And I was like, if this thing does land on my back, my whole back's broken. Like there's no like, and I paddle like this, and I like should have just never paddled. Like I should have just sat where I was and just watched it break and then come to me. First I tried to do it, and then
And
I
you
was
got
like,
caught.
yeah, and then I was in the worst spot. So like in the clip you can't see, but I went up, down, and then up with the like explosion. Because the white, like if you look at the clip, I'm like right where like the whitewash
Impact zone.
hits, yeah, and then it explodes. So you can't see me, but I'm going down and then up and then down and up, and it's like, I don't know. And then I didn't know where up was too, so
Yeah.
it was crazy.
And sometimes you're like, okay, I'm gonna grab a breath right now because you
Yeah.
feel like you're not in the water,
Yeah,
but you're in the water, or water's in the air, and you're just like swallowing water.
yeah, it was wild. Like looking back, I'm like, if I see a swell, because I think that day was like 8.8 feet at like 20 seconds or something crazy. Like,
Long intervals, deep water.
yeah, it was like big. I did a workout in the morning, and then like got there, like was super psyched, and then that was, yeah, and then what was even heavier was Nate was like, oh, go back out. Like 2 hours later, he's like, it's smaller, and then I got like probably the same size set on my head again, like 4 waves this time. And like he didn't film this one, but it was like arguably just as big.
Oh,
And I rode one wave, went straight, and then I got out.
yeah.
And the waves were firing like at other spots, but I was so rattled to the point where I was like, I don't even want to surf. Like
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
Was that last year or year before?
I think that was last year.
Okay.
Yeah,
So back to Costa Rica, where you learned how to duck dive.
yeah.
Like, why? How old were you, and why did it take you so long to figure out how to duck dive on a surf trip?
I think that was like pretty short. after I like started like competing and stuff, like I kind of knew how to duck dive, but it was like more like I kind of did it myself. And yeah, so ever since that, that's kind of been in the back of my mind. Like Costa Rica's got a special spot in my head. And
Where were you and how big were the waves?
I was we went to a wave next to Pavonis. It was like a beach break, and I think that's where like they launched the boats and jet skis, and it was only like probably like 2 to 3 foot, but
Perfect.
yeah, it was
Warm.
Yeah, water was warm. And,
First warm trip, like
yeah.
Like, why can't we live here? Why isn't it like this? Were we in, San Clemente?
Was it a family trip or?
Yeah, it was a family trip. Like that was probably the only family trip we've gone on since, I would say. And yeah, it was definitely something I'll never forget. And Costa Rica, the waves are insane and food's really good. And yeah, food isn't expensive as California. Everything you buy is like $30, I feel like.
Dude. Yeah. Gotta go to Costco.
Yeah.
So you surf amateurs rankings, and then when did you turn pro?
I think I want to say I turned pro when I was like 12.
What?
Yeah, I think 12 was like my first paycheck, I want to say.
Okay.
And like surfing's weird
From
too, you know?
O'Neill or from...
Yeah, from O'Neill. I want to say, because like surfing's
That's
weird.
so
like,
young.
Yeah.
Like skating it in like other sports, it's like once you get a pro model or something like that. So surfing's like you arguably could win a pro contest, but then like some people will say, oh, like once you get your paycheck or once you like win a pro contest, it's like kind of like I don't know which way you would consider, but I considered like paycheck would be a pro in surfing, not a pro contest, because you can anybody could have their best day competing, and like getting a paycheck is a lot harder to do, you know. So. Yeah, I think I want to say when I was like 12 is when I became a pro.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been...
Your dad must have been super psyched.
Yeah, he was super stoked. Like, yeah, he's... Like, my whole family believed in me since I was a little kid. And kind of knew, like, has been backing me since then and, like, believing in me. And that's definitely a huge support, you know, competing and, like, having that in the back of your head. And... kind of just wanting to do it, of course, for myself, but like for my family, my sponsors, and yeah, I feel like these next couple of years are going to be really interesting, and I'm excited.
Well, your older brother, who's 6 years older, right?
Yeah.
He went pro too, right? Like
Yeah, he was pro. He still surfs, and
he now he tried to get on he was on the QS.
Yeah, he did the QS for a bit, but got really expensive, so then he like stopped doing it, and then he works at Lost now.
Yeah. And what does he do at Lost?
I think he does accounting.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's been doing that for a couple of years, and then he works for Wax Japan.
Sick.
And then he works for Law School for Japan too, like he'll ship boards to Japan.
Bro, you done a podcast before? Just kidding.
Shut your mouth when I'm talking to you.
Yeah. I will kick you off of this right now.
So you saw him try to make the tour.
Yeah, it is.
So you got a little bit of like insight on how hard it is.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like being so young, you never really realize how much the funds are, right? Because parents are paying for everything, and you kind of don't really realize how expensive everything is. And then ever since I was probably like 15, 16, I started paying for everything myself, and I was like, wow, this is really expensive.
Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't cheap, and it's definitely everyone's dream job, but and then I was like, had to realize like, wow, this is got to take it serious, and like, you know, like look for like sponsors, and you know, and then I started working with John Oda, and he's my manager now, and so no, I think I was like probably 18 maybe when I started working with him, maybe 19. And then,
Now, did you go to school or were you homeschooled?
I went to school freshman and sophomore year. I went to San Clemente High School, and then junior and senior year, I did a homeschool.
Yeah.
And then got my diploma.
Traveling too much and just made sense.
Yeah, I just like, I was skipping way too much school and getting letters from my school, and like it was just too hard, and like missing, and like not being able to take tests, and like just because like. Just the QS, you're traveling all the time, and that's kind of when I started doing the QS is in high school, like just build like points and like a seed and Now it's completely different, but yeah, back then you could do any event you wanted, and yeah, you'd have to like build your seat so you can like stay in the top 100 to be able to do like the bigger events. And
Yeah, it's really rare. Like somebody tackles the QS and then qualifies. Like, I mean, there's quite a few examples, but in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty rare.
Yeah.
So you got to do what you're explaining is you got to invest, build up your ranking. Takes 2 or 3 years to where you one, you got the confidence, you know the waves, you know the travel, just ironing out those like, kind of jitters and then confidence, and it's an expensive process, It's not like,
sure.
Because there's
First-
so much talented surfers
Yeah.
all over the world, right? Like we had Caius King,
Yeah.
we had Mateus Hurdy,
Dimitri.
and you got Dimitri Polis, Nolan.
Yeah.
You guys are all
On the
Pretty
cusp
similar.
right there.
Yeah.
ages, and you're like, fuck, you're right there. You're on
Yeah.
the cusp.
All have the talent, all have like what it takes, but it's just
Yeah.
so hard,
Yeah, it's like I watched Nolan. He needed like a low 3, and like it's like one of those things like you could get a 3 any day of the week, But when it comes down to like the pressure and like being able to put that 3 together, it's like so hard to do. Like people don't really realize like 3 is like for professional athletes like probably arguably pretty easy to do if you have the opportunity, but to have that pressure and like being on the cusp of qualifying, it's like a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
And if you're not an athlete, it's definitely something hard to like kind of deal with, like look into and be like, oh, like why didn't he do this or that, It's always
All he needed was a 3.
yeah, like
Yeah.
and
It's
it's
like it's easier said than done.
yeah, and it's really
You don't
easy
know.
like to commentate from the couch and from the sidelines, like, oh, you could have done this, and I'm like, yeah, of course, I had 2 10s going to the heat,
Yeah.
and it's not always, it doesn't always go your way, and surfing is so hard. Like free surfing, like Nolan probably could have got 5 6 7 8, 9s and 10s, but in that 20-30 minutes it's so hard for us to like be able to use that priority right, and like you most all the heats are 4-man or 3-man or man on man, but most of the 4-man heats there's only so many opportunities, and you have to like get your scores on those waves that you commit to, and if you don't, then you're probably going to lose every time, and that's what's hard about
You gotta be
competing.
very
Yeah.
selective,
Yeah.
but you gotta be aggressive because there's a lot of doggy,
Yeah.
dog,
Yeah.
like a lot of blocking, instead of letting surfing do
The talking.
the talking, it's chess match, and it's like, how do you play the game?
Yeah, it's not like
Yeah.
a wave pool where like everyone gets the same amount of opportunity,
That was my problem. Man on man, I probably would have done so much better. These 4-man heats.
Yeah, 4-man heats are gnarly because like when it's small too, there's only gonna be maybe one set.
Yeah.
And if you're not on that one set, you're probably not making it. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's what competitive surfing is, and a lot of the
You're up against the
contests-
clock, and you're up
Yeah.
against.
So, right now, you're surfing which contest to get to the Challenger Series?
Yeah, so we have a QS3000 in Puerto Rico at the end of this month.
What wave is that at?
I think it's where they had the ISA.
Okay.
It's like a left point.
Left, but there's a little right chip, or is it just
Yeah,
left?
I think it's just a left, and then you can go right, maybe huck one big air.
Yeah. That was pretty good. Like they
Good wave.
scored. Yeah.
I'm pretty excited for that. I've been
Warm and tropical.
Yeah, I've been
That's-
looking forward to going to Puerto Rico for years and have never like gone, so I'm pretty excited to go there. And I'm taking Wellesley, so should be a pretty fun trip. Guy snores like crazy, but I was sleeping in.
Does he sleepwalk too?
No, he doesn't sleepwalk,
Does
thankfully.
he
But
pee on anything in the middle?
Bro, that doesn't happen anymore.
Cut
that was last year. Yeah, but I took him.
Kay knows me. Kay Chot knows me. That was
him-
last year.
Took him to Pismo, and yeah, like I've never had a coach like growing up my entire life. Like I've always gotten advice from like people around me, but
Yeah.
I've never had a coach like at an event, like especially at this level of surfing. I've never had a coach with me, so yeah,
Never worked with a coach.
yeah,
Just
like
basically your dad and friends.
yeah, and like I've had team managers like come down to the comp and like coach me, but never really like just had someone there like for me, you know, and travel with me. And yeah, so I started working with Wellesley, and yeah, it's been a fun journey. It's been like,
what is that relationship like? Obviously you know what to do, but it's like, hey, like not so much contest strategy, or is he in there, or just in your an ear to listen to, like somebody to talk to, like, hey, what do you think? Like, this is what I'm thinking. Like, when you're looking at conditions or a board to ride, or
yeah, I feel like as an athlete, at the end of the day, like confidence is everything, and kind of knowing like, oh, like should I ride this board or this one, and then he'll kind of tell me like, oh, this one's better, and I'll be like, oh, but this one feels better, and he'll be like, just ride that one, and that definitely helps. And kind of had to
get rid of the the voices and kind of make it a clean cut.
I had a shocker at the Jacks Pro this year. He told me exactly where to sit next to the pier, and I sat pretty much at river jetties. So
you didn't listen to him.
I didn't listen to him, and you live and learn. And I told him like, hey, next time before I paddle out, like make sure I sit like where you tell me to, because like arguably there's like a heat that I definitely could have made and didn't really surf. I kind of just was paddling the whole time. And
frustrating.
Well, it's the nuances too of like,
you like using that word.
Every other like heat has different peaks. The tide's coming up, and then like where you might have watched a lot of guys get scores at a certain spot.
Yeah,
you're not paying attention. Like, well, the tide's coming up, and it's going to be over here. There's a lot of noise in the head.
Yeah, and I mean every comp I've ever won was going left. So I don't know why it was a pure bowl left.
Your backhand is
lethal.
Yes, I guess. I don't know. I guess it works. But I like going right, obviously. And yeah, lately I've been just going left and feel super good. Like surfing lowers too. Like just being able to like click, and like it's not like crazy surfing, but like just being able to like, at the end of the day, you gotta surf the heat for what it is. And sometimes you gotta surf it like in its contest. You're there to win. You're not there to free surf. And sometimes I get super excited and I just want to free surf in a heat, but then I have to like take a step back and realize, hey, like you're here to win, and kind of just like playing it smart, And I had an event in Pismo, like I won the TOAT air show, and
just last weekend, right?
Yeah, just last weekend, and like I was the last surfer to go, and I knew like going into it, I'm like, hey, if you land 2 air reverses, you're gonna get $1,000. So I was like, just land 2 air reverses.
Don't go for the Superman or some
not going
flip.
Yeah, then not going for anything crazy. Like before, I'd be like, no, I gotta go huge, and it's like kind of just have to like realize like, oh, like competitors didn't land anything. If you land 2 air reverses, you win $1,000. So kind of just realizing those little like key factors and kind of putting them together. And yeah, I told Wellesley like, you gotta tell me where to sit exactly. And,
yeah.
But
shout out to Walter Cerny for putting that together.
Oh yeah,
too.
Still Frothy.
Still Frothy.
Been going on for years. That guy is definitely a core surfer too.
Yeah.
Always surfs I think he surfs pretty much every day. I want to say like.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's frothy.
Yeah, he's that.
Nickname fits.
Yeah.
Suits him well for sure.
No,
are you on the Fuwax? Obviously, you got Wellesley.
Yeah. No, I don't think I would surf if I didn't have Fuwax for sure. That's definitely the best wax in the entire world for sure, hands down.
The ickiest, stickiest wax in the game.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, wax is. The world best. John uses it. Gabe, they all use it. So.
Yeah, right.
Kelly Slater.
Oh yeah.
Lyndon, Chalky over there. He doesn't use a tail pad. He doesn't need a tail pad because it's so sticky. He's old school, like Aki, like whole boards wax.
There we go. Locked in.
So locked in. So what? Next contest is where?
Next contest for me will be in Japan. It's like it's called JPSA now. It's called S League. So they're running it at a place in Shizuoka. I think it's at Izu. So I won there back-to-back years. Haven't lost yet. So Shizuoka.
That's good prize money.
Yeah, Shizuoka is definitely a special place. That's where my dad's from, and I think it's like $8 or $9 grand if you win. And so yeah, definitely pretty serious. And I definitely wanted. I think the last year they ran, I won. So I definitely want to defend my title, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely want to win and kind of just for me, like obviously every competitor is to win, but kind of just be consistently getting results, you know, being on the podium and making finals day. That's kind of what boosts your confidence for every competitor. And yeah, definitely want to win, but just kind of want to put together good heats, and you know, that's kind of my practice before Puerto Rico. So kind of just surfing smart heats, and like not trying to free surf any heat because I can do that any other day, and kind of just playing the heat smart and surfing how I want to surf. And it's hard to do when the waves are actually fun, you know, like when you see good waves before you heat, you kind of are like, oh, I want to do an air on this, but it's like just stick to the basics and just make the heat, you know.
You get sixes and you're making heats almost every time, you
Yeah.
know, like on generally, but
round 1 and 2 for sure.
Who was it? Which interview was it when the guy said, dude, don't go out there and try to get 8s and 9s, just go out there and look for 7s?
Yeah.
Who said
I
that?
don't know. But it's true. Like you get overamped and you think that if you see a good wave, you're like, dude, I could drop like, you know, like you get caught up on wanting
To blow up.
like, it's, you know, just simplify, just downgrade a little bit, just slow it down and just get, you know,
Yeah.
it's hard, you know, it's contest.
So, we've seen a lot of footage of you surfing cylinders, and you surf wedge quite a bit?
I don't surf wedge unless it's the right going to the jetty. Probably will never surf wedge, maybe. I don't know.
It's too easy to get hurt. I mean, cylinders is no joke either, you know, but it's like,
Now that you're getting coached by Wellesley, does he get you out on Southside?
I surf Southside quite a bit. It's actually a pretty fun wave. I usually dogged on it, but it's actually pretty fun, and there's always something to surf. And
past couple of years, it's kind of turned on.
Yeah, the sandbar is pretty good, and cylinders is probably my favorite wave in California. Gotten some really good waves there. A lot of closeouts, of course, but a lot of good waves as well, and kind of know exactly where to sit, which helps, you know, and what wave to look for.
And I've seen some footage of you guys in San Clemente on that Misto Right.
Misto Right.
It's like, could be, I don't want to blow it up, but like a heavy right.
Oh yeah, that's not
Archie,
not in San Clemente, but it's close to it.
Yeah.
It's close to it, yeah.
Have you seen that wave or that footage? Like Archie.
Yeah, it only breaks on certain swells, but it's definitely a good wave.
Yeah.
It's like seal. It's like one of those waves. It only breaks a few times a year, you know.
Yeah. Right angle, right size.
Yeah, that's like mini snapper for California, I'd say.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to like sand spit too. It's probably one of the waves that it's like kind of like Greenmount snapper area, but. Yeah, we have more sand coming to San Clemente finally. We've needed it for a long time, so I think that's gonna help a lot.
Yeah, like Rivy, like all the way up to the tunnel, right? Like the whole beach was going, right?
Like when I was growing up, Rivy was like the sickest wave ever. Like we'd be getting tubed all the time, and like I haven't surfed Rivy in probably a couple of years, a decade at least. And
it's a trip because I never really surfed down there, but I hear friends say 204s and
all those waves
Rivy and like
Lost Winds. Like,
Lost Winds,
none of those waves have cameras too, so you have to like go and actually check it. So which is nice, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that and the tides and the angle, like, cause you know, there's California. It's pretty straight, but one couple degree angles, and some places are firing and some aren't, and it's just like it's weird.
Yeah. For sure, like lowers today, like had a little bit of west, and it was like breaking at middles, like just a little bit of west, and like a lot of
shifts over so much. Even there, it's like that. You know, lowers is still lower, it's still freaking incredible, but it's not the same of the '90s and early 2000s, and after Marie, you know.
So, have you done other international travel besides Costa Rica?
When I was young,
just in general.
I think I went to like Japan a lot, but not really like on surf trips.
No mental wise?
I did when I was younger, when I was like 15, 16. I definitely want to go back and redeem myself because I got food poisoning. And
early or like?
Yeah, I was sick like the entire time. I was there for like 10 days. I was sick for like 9.
Oh,
kind
man.
of a shocker, but yeah, I went to
on a boat?
No, I was at Lance's, right?
Okay.
This was a
Like
like
camp?
no, just like on the beach, like one of the hotels they had or like cottages. But yeah, Lance's, right? We used to have a QS that like there, and it was the sickest event ever. Like every guy was getting tubed, like, and when it wasn't barreling, you were ripping waves, like. Yeah, hopefully like we can get some events back in Mentalize because that whole stretch like it's just
Mental.
insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy how good it is.
Mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah.
He's been there.
Mental wise.
Mental wise. Yeah, I was trying to put the word together. I
That
was
place is dream.
yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
I would say like, I mean, Lance's Rights, obviously spectacular.
What's the place that we?
But like macaronis, I'm
Macaronis
regular
is
foot.
insane.
He's goofy, and I'm like, I'll go backside the whole trip, you guys. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even care. It was so good.
that
You know?
We started at Lance's Rights, right?
I don't know.
It's they're
Yeah,
both
or-
Lance's.
That's
left
usually
and
the
two.
like the coming
Starting.
from Sumatra.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like the closest spot, I think. I don't know. Yeah, usually kind of, and it's in the middle, like of the
So
chain almost.
you haven't done a boat trip yet.
I've never done a boat trip in my life. No,
No tabby yet.
no, I've never gone.
Australia.
I've gone to Oz, but I've never gone on like a boat trip, like to the Mentalize or anything. So
Yeah.
I gotta try to get that locked in.
What did you think of Oz? When did you go to Oz?
I've gone to Oz for a couple years now, competing like for the Challenger and the QS and stuff for like Snapper, yeah, and Manly, and yeah, Snap. I actually scored Green Mount like 2 years ago. Some of the best waves I've ever surfed. Like,
Machine.
yeah, it's crazy how that wave like works, like how long it is and like how long it barrels. It's like insane. Like there's no real wave like that in the world that like has been recorded at least, you know, like there's a few waves, but like that wave is just one of the
But
best.
when it's pumping, like that part of the coast, the swells are generated so close. So when they say corduroy, like it is like
Lined up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like here, you know, you get a 3 wave, 4 wave, 5 wave set if you're lucky.
Yeah.
You know, because they're coming from so far. There, it's like machine. You're just
Yeah,
like,
it looks photoshopped.
it's just like
Yeah.
what? Like it's just go go go. That's why so much sand moves, and they have to.
Is Green Mount that one contest where Kelly takes off in front of Parko and he flips him off?
That's Kira, I think.
Yeah, it's Kira.
Like that.
Kira's like
That
the best
before.
stretch for
So
sure.
there was Green now, and then there was
Right,
Kira.
right. Yeah.
And then like they started pumping the sand, and now that turned into super paint. Kira, because it's so far down in the cove, kinda, it doesn't get the swell where Greenmount is at the tip, and it like swell wraps around the tip, and there's always waves. Where down in Kira, it kind of protected, doesn't break as often. But
it does.
but when it does, it's like, whew,
Yeah.
It's like backdoor, but like
yeah,
makeable every time.
yeah. So it's like what did you call Sandspit? Like
Sand spit, yeah.
it is like slabby.
It's
shallow.
like it's like backdoor, but like makeable. Like you're just pumping in the barrel.
Yeah, it's so fun.
It's super fun.
But the crowds, woo,
Yeah.
like you think there's a lot of surfers here.
Oh no,
There?
it's another level.
It is intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
elbow to elbow
I've-
in the current.
I don't even care to even try to surf there.
Yeah,
Like,
you can't. It's so perfect, and you know, there's so much water, and so many people are like not making it or
yeah.
getting pissed, and so there is opportunity. You're just gonna
Sure.
paddle the hardest you've ever paddled to stay and try to catch waves, and you run. It's like it's the craziest Ironman workout.
Yeah.
Like to catch waves. Like there's no chilling. Like
Yeah.
you're either getting washed or you're trying to paddle battle to stay and find a corner.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like going to lowers. Like lower your expectations a little bit because you're gonna have a shocker if you just think you're gonna catch 10.0, 12.0 rides every wave.
Yeah.
But if you say, okay, if I could just find a couple corners and you know move around, you're gonna get guaranteed to get scored.
So next up, Japan,
Yep.
and then the QS. Is that still going on?
Yeah. So we have a 3,000 in Puerto Rico. So that's a pretty big event.
So that's part of the North America
Yeah.
kind of loop.
Yep. So we
And
got that. And
When's
then
that contest?
I think I want to say October 30th through the 4th of November.
Okay. So you got a busy month.
Yeah, I got a super busy month. Yeah.
Healthy, good boards, psyched, coming
Yeah,
off
I
a
got-
fresh win and air.
Yeah. I got some really good boards. Already put like my epoxies on ice, so those are just ready for when I compete. And then just got some new short boards too. Probably try them out this week. And yeah, I already have like 2 really good short boards, so kind of just deciding if they're better than these. So that always helps.
It's crazy how it makes a difference, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
Make
he
it
tries to
identical.
make it identical, but
And it feels identical under the arm, but
Yeah.
it doesn't.
it
Work
looks like
identical.
it feels like it, but then you get on and you're like, there's something better or something worse
For
than
sure.
this one, right? Like,
Yeah. I think I have like 4 epoxies, and then the one I won on is definitely like the best one. Like every time I ride, I'm like, instantly, like I can just surf like how I want, and that's kind of
Mind surf.
Yeah, it's kind of what you want for a board, and yeah.
and Wellesley's going with you to
Puerto Rico,
Puerto
yeah.
Rico, yeah.
Yeah. And then we got Morro Bay in the beginning of December, so
Mm. Out of all of California, I mean, Morro Bay is awesome, and they get pumping waves, but it's
Yeah.
just like, for how popular and how much money is in California and like where the events are, the
Yeah.
very few events that we have, it's just
Mhm.
like, really?
So
Like, we need the Bud Tour back, which is kind of like your JPSA, you know,
Yeah.
like we need more of a killer
yeah.
America tour.
So Challenger Series, right? Because each region has their own Challenger Series, right?
No,
Yeah. No.
Q-
It's a challenge.
QS.
Yeah, QS. There's regions for each one, like North America, Japan, Australia,
Okay.
or Japan and Australia together. But yeah, so
Europe.
yeah, so you have to get for North America. I think it's top 6, and then 1 wild card. And then
To
the
go on the Challenger Series.
yeah, and then the Challenger Series, it's all the regions together,
Got it.
and then like plus wild cards, the like triple and some wild
So
cards.
you got to qualify for the regions to get into the Challenger.
Yeah.
Top
Yeah.
6.
Top 6.
And then how many from the Challenger go on to the tour? 12?
10.
10.
10, yeah.
To go to the CT.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just saw Bella Kenworthy
Yep, she just
qualify
qualified.
for the CT.
Yeah.
Anybody else that we know? San
Uh,
Clemente girl.
I think Samuel Pupo just qualified too. There's a couple guys like pretty much like 1 heat away.
I think Mateus did well, right? Or is
Yeah, he's
doing
in the
well?
quarters. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's pretty far down the ranking. I would
Oh,
say.
really?
Yeah, but I mean, a win is 10,000 points. So, and then I think they'll do really well in Brazil too. I think Dolan has a really good shot. I think if he makes a quarters around a 16, he would probably qualify.
New look Nolan?
Yeah, Nolan Poza.
New look Nolan. though.
New look.
New look, yeah.
He
Yeah.
shaved his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
hey,
good. Change is
sometimes,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
Change is
sometimes
good.
it's like, Chalky 2.0. Dude, you've changed. You're over here on the capacity, non-alcoholic brewery, over here. Look at you.
Change
Yeah.
is good, yeah.
Yeah. Not me.
Not you.
Still,
You're lush. Late night lush. So, Japan, then, are you going to be here for your dad's contest? No.
Yeah.
Sick. So, you're going to be
Yeah.
down there too?
Yeah, so I'll be down there and then I fly out the next morning. It's going to be pretty grindy because I got to surf before my flight again.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get it done.
How is not a lot of people know about the Japan tour, which is again like
JPSA.
killer for you have to be Japanese.
Yep.
You can't just be a foreigner and go
Yeah.
live over there and compete, right?
Yeah.
Is there prestige and money like if you win the tour for that year, or is it just you're more likely to get endorsements and more support?
Yeah, so it's pretty big. Like I would say, I think you get like 2 or 3 grand from the like contest that's running if you win the actual if you finish number 1. And I think there's 6 events or 7 events. I've always wanted to win the whole thing, but I've never been able to do all the events.
Yeah, because of conflicting with some of the
Yeah,
others.
some of the QSs. So yeah, this should be fun. I
Yeah.
think I'm able to do 3 of them out of 6, so
Yeah.
it should be pretty fun. I don't probably won't be able to win the whole thing, but yeah, they have one at Karamas too, which is really sick.
Wow.
So
The Japanese contest at Karamas?
yeah,
How sick.
it's pretty sick. Yeah,
So fun.
yeah.
Waves sick.
I identify as Japanese.
Yeah. Well, I one of my good surf traveling partners in the day was Junjo, and he would sometimes skip going to QS events to go do. He wouldn't miss, and he was like, I think he's like 3-time
Japanese champion?
Japanese
No way.
champion, and
That's right.
it was important for the sponsors, but
Yeah.
the money and everything was like big time.
What's the state or how healthy is the surf market in Japan?
It's pretty good. Like my top 3 sponsors are all from Japan, so
Yeah.
it's pretty solid. Like I think a lot better than the U.S. is.
The market?
Yeah, I think there's just a lot more deals like happening. Like I feel like they're backing surfing a lot more than the U.S. Like it's hard to say, but I think Japan is more like diehard surfing. I think lately, and U.S. is kind of going good, but also like deteriorating in a way. Yeah, so it's kind of hard. It's like I would say both's really good, but I definitely tapped into the Japanese market just to try to benefit like my surfing career and my future like life outside of surfing too. So yeah, it's been a fun journey, and like I got a YouTube channel too, and like all my subscribers are pretty much from Japan. So
Yeah.
it's pretty rad to see
It
that.
must be a trip because you're bilingual.
Yeah.
You were born here. You grew up here, and it seems like for like Japanese in Japan, they look at you and they go, "Fuck, this guy like your dad, right?"
Yeah.
Like I'm sure the Japanese are so interested and jealous of like you guys living the California lifestyle, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because lowers? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's funny because I went to Lowers the last 2 days, and I'm like, wow, this wave is actually really good. Like I always forget about like how like good Lowers is while I'm traveling,
Yeah.
and then you surf these really really small. Like that's just our life that we chose. But like it really makes you realize like wow, Lowers is mushy, but it's still such an easy wave to surf, and like it just you realize like wow, like you get to surf this wave at any time you want, any given day, and it's just like you can do anything you want on the wave, and like just
It's
connect.
super
with it up.
consistent, breaks
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, between churches, lowers, uppers, cotton, like all year
And
round.
fine, yeah.
Like obviously.
All year round,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it has
and you don't
so
have to-
much. You could do like 5 turns at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where beach breaks, you get 1 or 2 if you're lucky.
But
Yeah.
like, you were talking about how jealous maybe some Japanese are because, where the population is, there's not a lot of high quality waves. The
In
best waves in
Japan?
Japan,
Yeah.
really rural and like far places that travel and kind of not easy access.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
but there
Japan
are,
reminds me of like Florida.
but there's insane like River Mouse and Point, there are killer waves,
Yeah.
but it's just not like your,
Consistent.
where you
or-
live and where it's, like
Yeah. Definitely.
not,
Yeah.
the most popular beach break is Chiba and probably Shonen because it's close to Tokyo and that's where everybody, like the big population's at, and there's a few others, but it's like the waves aren't that great there,
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
I mean, here waves aren't that great, but luckily we have, lowers, and then there's other spots, but Rincon, one of the best waves in California, it doesn't break very often,
Yeah.
only in the winter, only on the west. It's like very particular,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lowers and Huntington are probably the most consistent places
For
on
sure.
the coast for waves.
yeah.
Oceanside gets pretty good.
Oceanside. Even like Santa Cruz. You think it's so far north, but they pick up a lot of those south swells too. It
Yeah.
sticks out. They get like that's pretty.
I was up there Monday and Tuesday,
Mhm.
and it was not firing, but
Waves.
there was waves.
That's what I mean. They pick up waves.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we're spoiled here for sure.
Yeah, we always have waves. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's definitely nice to have waves.
Any bucket list like trips like waves? Like You know, like I know we talked about Mentawais and Tabby,
Tahiti.
Chopes.
I want to probably go to Candui. I've never gone there, and that looks pretty sick.
Yeah.
See some clips of there. Yeah, I want to go back to Nicaragua where I got hurt, but redeemed myself.
Colorado's or
I went to the Boom, so I stayed with Thunderbomb Surf Camp. Yeah, he's the man. He stayed with him only for like 2 days, and then I got hurt. But
is that in Santa Cruz?
that's at the Boom, so it's like it's the opposite way of Colorado's. It's like a perfect right and left like barrel, and it's kind of like river jetties on like the best day ever. Like the best day
All
ever.
sand, or is there a little bit of
Yeah, it's all
rock that
sand.
kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
it's all sand, and then they have some point breaks too that are super fun. I just surfed the beach break because it's just barreling.
Yeah.
Got to surf 2 days by myself, no one around me, just stand up tubes. Like
Wow.
super fun. And then
When's the last time you got barreled? It's been a really long time.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Lemoore.
Maybe more. I pulled into some, but not made it out of them. But it's been a while.
I know. It's been
I
really
think
like
getting barreled is probably the best feeling ever in surfing.
yes. Yeah.
And a good roundhouse.
I don't think I've
Yes,
I've
thank
done
you.
a good roundhouse,
Roundhouse.
but I've never been in a big barrel like you guys and got spat out.
Yeah.
You got
it's
time.
never happened.
You got time.
Yeah. I mean,
That door's
Good.
closing.
Good.
when you're talking about that Manhattan day and it was pumping and it breaks pretty far out there, and
Yeah.
of course you're wearing a leash because there's why wouldn't you? It reminded me of like going to Porto and we're like you're only coming down with whatever boards you could fit in your bag, and you can break multiple boards a day.
Yeah.
So you wear no leash, so your board wouldn't get caught, and hopefully this gets spit out and sucked away.
Yeah.
So you're guaranteed, like, if you're getting caught inside, you're most likely it's like, fuck, I want to hold on and try to make it,
Yeah.
because if you you just go through the washing machine and you go in, and it's like,
Yeah.
but it doesn't break as far out, but you're definitely like, I'm just envisioning like, here comes that lip, it's thick, and I'm like, fuck, you're gonna like,
I'm the biggest.
are you gonna like, can I make it through? Am I get punched? Am I gonna get sucked over? I had a board break in my hands. It could have been creased, but it was definitely not broken because I like caught a couple, like,
Yeah, that's wild.
and I got just underwater, just destroyed, and my board just like split apart and like it just landed right on me. Like,
Wow.
but you're on that sweet spot. You're like, okay, it's either gonna like destroy me or it's gonna shoot me out the back, like kind of like project you, So if you're at, a lot of times you just jump off and die and sacrifice your board. But I didn't think of, that's just, you're in that pinnacle. What's gonna
Impact
happen?
zone.
Yeah.
But
Only
I mean,
They say only a surfer knows the feeling.
but that's a benefit of like, we've been talking a lot of contests and a lot of like, heat and travel, but surfing and traveling culturally, like seeing all the different like, places. You brought up Nicaragua and Japan, obviously Australia, like how fortunate to go to those places and see and surf and meet people. And
Yeah.
When did you start learning Japanese? Right. Too
Uh,
early.
Yeah, ever since I was pretty young, probably like 10 or even younger. Like, definitely now it's getting a lot better.
Can you write it?
I can't read or write, but I can speak it fluently. Like, I went to Japan a few weeks ago and won that contest, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, your Japanese got better," and I'm like, "I don't really know," but
Yeah.
but it's cool to be bilingual in both and have both passports have dual citizenship, so it's pretty rad.
And your parents talk to you in both?
No, I pretty much only speak Japanese with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then my girlfriend's dad is Japanese, so I'll speak Japanese to him. And she's slowly starting to speak more Japanese and kind of get the hang of it.
Was she born here too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's able to like understand what I'm saying. She just kind of gets shy when she's like talking, but yeah, she's getting a lot better, and
Yeah.
she's diehard surfer too, and loves surfing, and pretty much surf every weekend together, and
Oh.
yeah, pretty fun.
Romantic.
Yeah.
You guys
Just
meet
like your
here?
parents.
No, I met through like a mutual friend, and yeah, I guess she was like a huge fan of me before I met her, but
Whoa.
That's
yeah, little fangirl, but you know,
K-chan.
Yeah.
yeah, she's not crazy, maybe a little bit, but I'm pretty.
They
cool.
all are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, dude, this was awesome.
Yeah.
But before we go, let's freaking pump up your sponsors.
Yeah.
Because you got a long list.
Yeah, I got Locomotion. Yeah, I've been with them for like a couple of years now, and yeah.
Who do you don't deal with the guys from Hawaii, do you?
No, so I actually went to Hawaii. I went to Alamana Bowls for their contest. It was just sick. I got to surf bowls with 3 other guys out.
When was this?
This was like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that was super fun. They flew me out for that. Yeah, I never got to surf bowls, so that was my first time ever doing that. And yeah.
Is that the one Zeke one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The waves were firing for
Yeah.
it was like 6-8 foot and just pumping. Yeah, so I did that, and yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, it's been pretty fun competing, and yeah, thanks to all my sponsors, and yeah, thanks to you guys for letting me join on the
No,
podcast.
we gotta go through all of them, dude.
All right.
Locomotion, and then the restaurant.
Gyotan Tsukasa. That's
Yeah.
from Japan, Sendai. Probably gonna hit that after this.
And they have a
it's
a restaurant here?
Yeah, it's in Costa Mesa. It's the Japanese market, Mitsuo
Okay.
market.
Is that off of Paularina?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, it's just beef tongue, and you get some rice and some cabbage, and then you could get like a beef tongue soup, which is really good.
Gaitan?
Gyutan.
Gyutan. Okay.
Gyutan, yeah,
We
Gyutan
have to
Tsukasa.
You have to check that place out.
Yeah, it's good. If you like meat, it's definitely a place you gotta hit for
Beef
sure.
tongue's a
Yeah.
little tough, a little chewy, you know,
Yeah.
unless it's like been
We
cooked
can
down.
get
or
other
rough.
stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're Lost.
Lost surfboards, and then bonsai bowls.
Bonsai Bowls.
One of our sponsors.
Yeah,
thank
you
Joe
try
Bart.
you get them for free already.
Yeah, no, but we gotta promote, you know, like
Yeah.
you're already
Joe
sponsored.
Bard, yeah. Tiana as well. Yeah, they're so rad. It's pretty awesome to
And
like.
John.
Yep, it's pretty cool to be a part of a brand that's family owned and like you know.
And they
Which
give
is-
so much.
Yeah, and they're crushing it too. And
Back
like
with
they don't
us.
need to like give like sponsor any of us really. You know, like we're not bringing in crazy funds for them. You know, like they're just doing it because they love it, and it's rad to support them and get supported by them. And yeah, Bonsai Bowls is awesome. And yeah, huge shout out to Joe and Tiana for sure.
I had one today.
I went downtown to go do our main run because we're rad. So I go to Jackson's Service Sport, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh, should I go get one? I'm like, I just knew it was gonna be crowded.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I'll
Yeah.
wait for next.
yeah.
I went to the 17th Street one.
Smart.
That one's crowded too. if
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
time it.
I got
And there's-
lucky.
And there's like no parking in that structure.
Dude,
Do you go behind?
Oh, I didn't even.
There's a parking
I
lot.
almost
on the-
went behind.
There's a parking lot in the back.
Oh,
It's mostly for employees, but there's spaces back there.
Yeah.
Don't you know?
Secret spot.
Secret spot. So if you
You
go,
can only park there if you go to Bonsai.
yeah, if you go and then loop around and there's a
And then
back.
your
Back up.
Cyberflex?
Cyber wetsuit.
Cyber wetsuits.
Yeah.
And then,
They're coming down the street.
yeah, looks like it.
Something's going down. Hope
Good.
you're all right.
They're probably going to go to,
St. Simon Jude.
no,
Oh,
Landmark.
yeah,
Yeah. There's a retirement home up the street.
common.
So cyber wetsuits,
Cyber
flu
wetsuits.
wax.
Flu wax. Carved sunglasses. Jack Ocean Sports is new. What else we got?
Well, we're gonna post them all on all.
Electric bicycles.
Oh yeah. I just signed with Electric Bike Company, so that's pretty rad. Got a new e-bike to whip around for
Nice.
lowers. Huge shout out to them. They're out of Costa Mesa. And then Drink Salty. It's like health beverages, shots, and healthy drinks.
Yeah.
Keep me fueled.
You might have to introduce us to them.
Yeah, got
Love
some
to have,
coupons for you guys.
Yeah.
I got some in my car. I'll give you guys some.
Sweet.
What
Those
else
are
we
mine.
got? What else we got? Quick. It's a long list. What else we got? Carve.
Traction leash fins.
Oh yeah, on a mission.
There you go.
Sick.
I don't ride for FCS, but they got the best fins. Love them.
Yuji-san?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been,
It's his birthday yesterday, I think.
yeah.
right?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Yuji-san.
Yeah. Big
Look at
21, huh? Nah, he's only 21. But what else we got? Let's think.
Yeah, don't miss out, dude. You'll
Yeah, right.
kick yourself.
Drink so.
We could just ad lib it in like later. That's like us with our sponsors. We're like, Lyndon had to pull them up because we're.
Oh,
we'll go-
Love Surf, Lost Surfboard Japan.
Yeah.
Koji-san.
Yeah, Koji-san.
Dude.
Guy's diehard surfer. It's like my dad.
He's still ripping.
Oh yeah, guy surfs pretty much every day of the year. Gotta rip if you surf that much.
Does he live here part of the year?
Part time, yeah. He lives here a couple months out of the year and like goes back and forth from here to Japan.
Does he have kids now too?
Yeah, he's got 2 daughters and a son.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are they out in the water already?
Yeah, his son Jay rips. Yeah, he's little and he surfs really good.
Nice.
What else we got? I think
Cyber wetsuits. Bonsai bowls.
Labels, cards.
Lost carve.
I think that's about it. I think.
Yeah. And tell us about your YouTube channel.
Yeah, so that YouTube channel is called the Kobayashi Show. So I put a sticker on my board for that. Highest paid sponsor right there. Myself.
The K
The
Kobayashi.
shameless, selfless sponsor. Promoter.
Jokes aside, it's pretty cool though. Like I went to Japan and I kind of took a break from YouTube. It's a lot of work, you know. And I went over to Japan to compete, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, like can you post like more YouTube videos?" And I was like, "You guys actually watch them?" Like, and then they're all like, "Yeah, like we always look forward to it," and like kind of show like kind of more so towards like just like posting, you know, not really like getting too far into it, you know, and just
Like having the ultimate
yeah.
like clip section of
just like pushing content, you know, and like obviously not
just more real, like
yeah,
more
just
like
like
everyday.
keep
Like,
it simple and like kind of I'd always want to like get too far into it, and I'm just like post the content. Like I got so many surf clips that just sit on my hard drive that I could just not even add music, just post it, you know. And
is
yeah.
YouTube Shorts like kind of like super popular, or do you put it like what's your average like 3, 4, 5 minutes? Like
I try to shoot for like 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
Yeah, because then you can monetize
8-minute
it.
abs.
Yeah, 8 minutes.
I just saw the one that you were interviewing the Japanese guys,
Oh, yeah.
asking them like, "Do you
That
know
one was
this guy?"
classic. Yeah, I went to Shonan. It's like so famous for surfing. Like there's like 200 plus people surfing every day.
Yeah.
And I just interviewed like a couple of surfers, and like one of the older guys like didn't know who John was, and
But he was a surfer.
yeah, he was a surfer, and like didn't know who Kelly Slater was,
What?
didn't know who Hiroto Ohara was from Japan Olympics, didn't know who Kano Igarashi was, didn't know who I was, of course, didn't know who Kelly Slater was, which is I was like,
Who are you?
Is
Kelly,
he a
like
COVID
to
surfer?
me, yeah, like Kelly Slater is surfing. Like a guy commented like, "Oh, like you don't really need to know who Kelly Slater is," and I'm like, "Yes, you do. Kelly Slater is surfing. Like that's the reason why like pretty much all of us started surfing. Like even if you say you didn't, like Kelly Slater is the reason why like surfing and competition is so big. You know?
He
And-
put it on the map. He put
Oh
it
yeah,
mainstream.
and like I don't even watch baseball, but I know who Shohei Ohtani is. It's
Yeah.
like, but like surfing isn't like as big as baseball, you know, which is, you know, it sucks, but like we'll get there hopefully one day, and
Yeah.
it's gonna take a lot of work from every surfer that's big, you know, and like Kelly put wave pools on the map, you know, so that's like where it's starting, like. But yeah, that interview was pretty funny. That video is kind of blowing up on my channel, so I'm pretty stoked. It's at like 10K, so I'm pretty stoked.
That's insane.
Yeah,
When did you put it out?
I think like a day ago, 2 days ago. Yeah.
And
so-
you already got 10K?
yeah, it's at 10K. I'm pretty
Damn!
stoked. Yeah. I only have like 12K subscribers, so I'm pretty. I try to hit like at least half, you know.
Dude, you better be promoting this show.
Yeah. Throw it on there.
Hook us up.
Yeah.
We're killing it though.
Yeah, we're killing it.
Yeah.
How many subscribers you guys
Yeah.
got?
We gotta promote our sponsors.
Yeah, yeah.
This is audio, we do a video clip, but our YouTube channel sucks.
We never put it up.
We gotta get people to go to YouTube.
Because
I put up a lot and we get no responses. I don't know what's going on. People gotta go to our YouTube channel.
we gotta promote it.
I'll start.
Yeah,
I never pumping
them.
about it.
Yeah,
Like Chloe's, I got like 100 and something views, and I'm like, this is Chloe, and I tagged like everything and everybody. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta hit the algorithm.
Yeah.
It's all about the algorithm.
You know who's the number one? Teva Black Bear.
The most views.
Most views.
Wow.
Who's that?
Yeah. Black Bear
I don't even
Surf
know.
Club.
Oh,
Teva.
The
You know?
accessories.
You know the
oh, like
leashes,
hats
boards, and tabs.
Yeah, the burger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
burger.
Yeah.
Burger. Everyone is burger, but Teva is like the number. Anyways,
How many subscribers does he have?
I don't even know.
Burger?
No,
Or
they
Teva.
Teva.
I don't know. I haven't looked.
I haven't looked either.
But they got a huge following.
He's
Yeah.
Tahitian with crazy story, but
Yeah.
it's just again we've interviewed crazy big names and no names, and then certain things like
Certain things
a
click.
lot of musicians. So Jared with
Dirty Heads.
Dirty Heads was a lot of downloads,
Oh,
Yeah.
sick.
and I don't know a couple other randoms, but anyways,
Real
we gotta
quick.
make you make
Oh,
us
yeah.
page pin.
I just realized Baja Bound car insurance.
Oh,
for
that's
Mexico.
right.
Oh, you go down there? Yeah,
Can't
I
forget
use that.
That's some of the best waves I get in my entire life, so can't forget them.
Hey, man.
Secret spots down there.
Yeah.
Thank you to Earth Pack.
Yeah, all your packaging and bag needs, check it.
Yeah, new bags
There you
from
go.
Jax, for Hobie, Killer Dana, Cinnamon Rainbows.
Val Surf, Surfside Sport,
Spiders here somewhere.
all of the above.
Oh, Spider. My girlfriend used to work there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Which one?
One
Pier
in
or-
LA.
Yeah, Pier or the one on
Manhattan.
PCH?
see?
I think she worked at the Pier one, I want to say.
Oh, there's one in Manhattan. too.
Manhattan. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
Dicky.
Caballero Pools and Spas. Loose.
Oh, yeah.
Towels?
Sponsored by a towel company?
No, I use Lose and I use Slow Tide as well. I use
Okay.
kind of all of them.
We're going to hook you up with a new loose towel.
Oh,
Yeah.
You want a
sick.
poncho or you want a towel?
Probably a towel. I
Okay.
don't really use ponchos.
You like microfiber, like
He's old school,
or do you like terry cloth?
I like the cotton. I just feel like those ones are good for like certain reasons that I think
Traveling and they're
good. Yeah,
but
and then
not
like
for every day.
for drying, I think I like the cotton ones
Yeah.
better. I think.
Yeah. I'm old school. I'm
Yeah.
cotton.
No, those are good too though.
Finless
Uh,
Skateboards, thank you.
Yeah, Bonsai Bogey, we talked about them.
Yep. Shoots, Pokey, and Beer.
Murph.
Oh.
Have you eaten there before?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
That's
next time you
actually-
surf O-side, dude,
Yeah.
you gotta hit them up.
There's one in Oside and Carlsbad too.
Oh, sick.
Murph Electric Bikes.
Murph Electric Bikes, Northside Cafe, Clearweather Brand Shoes, Fuax,
Yep.
and Malachi.com.
Malachi. Anybody that's looking for a job or some sort of like connection in industry, Malachi is your like
Yeah.
spot.
Oh, sick.
But K-chan Kobayashi,
Yeah.
thank you for sitting
K-chan.
You
down.
legend.
Dude,
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
This
you
is
got a
epic.
big month ahead of you.
Yeah, excited.
You better tell your dad who you just sat down with, dude.
Yeah.
This is
We'll
Lock in.
we'll do a recap in the next couple
Yeah.
months, see how you've done.
Yeah.
We're stoked that to hear your story, and hopefully you can make the freaking crack the CT.
let's
Yeah.
go.
Stoked. Yeah, thank you guys. So
Yeah.
it took 3 years, but we made it.
Yeah. Right on.
Okay.
Cheers.
K Kobayashi-san, peace. You know that Lar